friends, and welcome back to my homestead. Today is our garlic planting day. We're gonna plant this now in the fall, and I have this beautiful big cloves of garlic that my sister shared with me, and I have little ones, big ones. I have like 3 different types of garlics here, I think. So this is the end of October, and it's a perfect time to plant your fall garlic here in New England. I have heard from a few of my family and friends who already planted their garlic, like back in September, and that garlic sprouted and it's sticking out of the ground. And I hate to tell them, but it's a problem. It's way too early. That means that garlic will have a high chance of actually rotting and not surviving the winter. And something that would survive the winter would come up in the spring as a very, very small garlic. So it is best to plant it later in the season, even if you're expecting some cold, very cold nights. And I'll show you how I'm going to protect it from first frost or cold weather, because it is coming. So today is 24th or 25th, I can't remember, of October, and I'm planting my fall garlic. So I first need to prepare the garlic itself and the soil. Just like anything else, garlic likes good, rich soil. And garlic likes to follow after squashes, after cucumbers. That's a good soil for them to plant into. So I'm going to be planting them in a patch, an area where I had all my squashes and pumpkins growing. So I cleared all that land, and now I'm preparing the soil. But guess what? These guys also need to be prepared. Okay, I need to prepare them because we need to protect them from disease. Even though not many bugs will try to eat them, even though it's possible, but they're still not immune to diseases and fungus. So what I'm going to do is, while I'm preparing the soil, and it takes about half an hour or so to prepare the soil, I'm going to soak these bulbs, well, I guess they can call them bulbs, in salty water solution. So I have about a gallon of water in here, and I'm going to put about a half a cup of salt. Okay, and I'm going to dissolve that. And while I'm preparing the soil, my garlic cloves, my garlic bulbs will be sitting in this salty water. All right. So let me just dump them all in there. Let me tell you, separating them from the head of the garlic was not very easy, and some of them got damaged a little bit. Like, you really want to keep the skin on them, but 2 pieces have skin broken. I'm still going to plant them, even though it's not ideal. Okay, I'm going to plant them and see what happens, but try to keep the skin completely intact on all sides. Okay, so try not to damage it too much. All right, so I'm going to dump it in my salty water solution, and oh, there's a dead bee in there, and let that sit and kind of like prepare for planting. Okay, so while the bulbs are soaking in the salty water for about 25-30 minutes, I have to prepare the soil. So I'm going to be planting only 2 rows of garlic because I only have 80 bulbs, and for my area this is going to be enough. Now, how far should they be spaced out? About 5 inches apart and about 4 to 5 inches deep. And to prepare my soil, I'm going to be putting some wood ash. Now, wood ash is a good to correct the acidity of the soil, plus to add some of the natural organic minerals that we need for the soil. And I'm sure you guys have fire pits from your summer barbecuing or s'mores making, or if you already started a wood stove in your house, so you'll have it. Just make sure that the ash is clean ash, that you didn't burn any kind of like treated wood or plastic or something like that. So I'm going to be sprinkling just a little bit. How much? I can't tell, but it's just a handful, and just sprinkle a little bit, just like dusting. Okay, so it's going to be pretty easy. That's it, not much at all. Next is I'm just gonna take my little rake and I'm just gonna loosen the soil up, okay? That's all I'm gonna do. And when I loosen the soil up is because it's gonna be important when we're gonna be placing the bulbs, the garlic bulbs into the ground. You know, I've seen people literally push them into the ground. And I have to say that is not the best practice. And the reason why it's not the best practice is because when you do that, you can accidentally damage the root system that it needs, okay? So I'm gonna be actually making holes in the ground. If you're planting a lot, you can actually create a makeshift rake that's gonna be making a lot of those holes, but I'm not planting much. It's only I need to make 80 holes, that's it. Now I need to make the holes. By the way, what was growing here before, I was growing my squashes and pumpkins here. Garlic loves to grow in a soil where you grow cucumbers or squashes or zucchinis, that sort of thing. So FYI. And I need the stick and I measured 5 inches. So that means when I'm going to be pushing this into the soil and pre-making a hole. So 5 inches deep and 5 inches apart for 2 rows. So that will give enough space for my garlic to be nice and fat. That's what we want, nice fat garlic. So while I'm doing that, let me, you probably have a question. Well, what kind of garlic should I plant? Well, first of all, make sure you're planting organic garlic. Because, so here's a story. Some of the garlic we have right now is actually was grown in China. It's a fact. It's grown in China, right? And as you guys know, it's often bleached because there's a lot of regulation when it comes to transporting soil, something like that. So because garlic often has those roots, so they bleach them in order not to transmit or transport any kind of soil. Sweating. Okay, so now my garlic has been soaking for about half an hour and it's time for it to go in the ground. Okay, so now it's time to put them in the ground. And as always, say a quick prayer that they're blessed and they grow nice and fat. Now, because I already have holes pre-made, I am not squishing them into the soil because the hole is already there. So they go in nice and easy. Again, I'm putting the root part down with the little stem to the top where the greens will be growing from. Cover everything, and I'm just going to take literally the back of my rakes and I'm just going to push the soil to cover everything, okay? So the bulbs are in the ground. Now, because I know I'm expecting a cold winter, just like all of us here in New England, I need to add another layer of protection for these guys. One reason is that I don't want them to decide to come up to the ground, to the surface too soon. And also because I want to protect them from the cold winter. See, very often we have a weird winters where it will be very cold and no snow. See, if the snow did fall and stay on the ground, that would actually protect my bulbs. But because very often we get very cold but snowless winters, I need to protect my garlic in the soil. So just today my husband raked a lot of leaves, and I'm gonna be adding a big fat layer of leaves right here on top of my garlic. I want to say probably 8 to 10 inches pile of leaves. Also, you may add a good pile of mulch on top, or manure, even if it's somewhat fresh manure, because over the winter it will break down, and once the snow begins to melt, it will run into the soil and it will not burn your garlic right now. But I'm going to be putting leaves, so this is a lot of fun. Very messy, but a lot of fun. Friends, this is how I plant my fall garlic. I hope you are encouraged. I hope you learned something today, at least from my method. So these leaves will stay on the ground like this till springtime. They will eventually turn into a mulch, a good layer mulch, and it should be perfectly fine. I don't have to remove anything. On this note, I hope you guys are encouraged and learned something new.